Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This will be a review on the Hot Toys 1/6 scale classic suit Spider-Man, the PS4 Spider-Man game. Drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram at DeanKnight333. Okay everyone, so I shall briefly explain why this figure is here in front of me right now, because I was very clear in my thoughts video when this figure was first announced by Hot Toys that I was not getting it. I was very pissed off about the fact that it had raised webbing on its head and its hands, but not the suit. That is not game accurate. It should all be the same, head to toe. It seems like they've reused maybe a head sculpt from another figure and slightly tweaked it to make it into the classic version head sculpt. I don't know, speculation. But I can't see any other reason why you would have raised webbing on the head and hands, but not the suit. And it's not supposed to be there anyway. It's supposed to be very kind of flush. I can always check up some footage from the game, get up close to the suit in photo mode and show you that if you need to see it. We'll see. But that was the reason I was dead against this figure, because this is the one I wanted, and I wanted it to be right. They've had so much practice. They've done a bunch of Spider-Man figures now. This is one of the most recent ones released, and I believe that still quite a few people who are waiting from the figure from Sideshow Collectibles are still waiting for theirs, and maybe a few other people waiting for them. There's not that many reviews on YouTube, but the few that are on YouTube, I've seen them all now. And it was actually the one by Iron Logan, who I did a little video live stream on his channel recently where we sat down and chatted about figures, so check that out on Iron Logan's channel. But his pose session kind of made me think, you know what, the raised webbing on the head and the hands isn't that obvious in person. It doesn't seem to be. I mean, they say, you know, the camera doesn't do these figures justice, but in this day and age of 4K, it pretty much does, you know, as long as it's filmed right and the lighting's decent, the poses are well done, then, you know, it gives you a very good idea of what you're in for. So when I saw Justin's review and Iron Logan, I thought to myself, well, it doesn't look as obvious in person. Those original prototype photographs that everyone saw for the first time and then was making their pre-orders, those images, I did not like any of those pictures. The raised webbing looked very prominent in the images, and then in the blogger pictures it was still obviously there. It looked okay in some pictures, not so great in others. But yeah, it was checking out Iron Logan's video kind of made me pick up my phone and look on eBay to see if there was one available, and I didn't think there would be because he's only just come out, but there was someone in the UK selling this guy for a pretty reasonable price, brand new, never opened apparently. And I thought, right, well, I'll get it, and then it'll be here tomorrow. And it was like the very next day it arrived. And the figure does seem brand new. The box was all sellotaped up and the bag was sealed up on top. I don't know, maybe it was brand new, but this sure as hell isn't. The diorama, the top of it here is all ripped and shredded, so I just had the newspaper covering it. I don't think I can be bothered to chase him up for a partial refund for something so small. I think that would be kind of a waste of time. I mean, the figure's in perfect condition. Oh, and he doesn't have that issue, which I was really worried about. I didn't discover the issue until after I made the purchase on eBay, but some of them out there have a nasty wrinkle just at the beginning of his neck at the front. And luckily, mine doesn't have that. It's completely flush and seamless and nice. So that's it. It's not as bad. You know, I wasn't wrong in what I said in my thoughts video, because all the issues that I pointed out are still here in front of me. But it's not as bad in person, and it's such a beautiful piece. I don't want you guys to see that video I did in the past and think, oh, I'm not going to get it now. I don't think that would happen. I'm sure you'd go off and look at other people's videos and think, it's not that bad, I'll get it. But just in case, I didn't want to put people off. That video was a bit overly negative, and I try not to be, but I was very passionate about this figure, man. I really wanted this one. This is the suit I've always wanted. Great childhood memories. Born in 1980, grew up, you know, with this version of Spider-Man on my walls, and I couldn't wait for Hot Toys to finally announce that they were doing this one. And then when they did announce it, I was so pissed off that they, you know, cut some corners and did a slightly inaccurate figure. But yeah, we'll get to this in the review. I'll give it a score out of 10 at the end. I'll let you know whether or not you should buy this. Spoiler alert, obviously you should. Look at it, it's gorgeous. But we're gonna have some fun reviewing it. Drop a like on the video. I already said that. You know what to do. Sit back, light one up, enjoy. Now, I'm not going to spend ages on the accessories. There's some accessories that aren't here on the desk because I didn't take them out of the box because I don't intend to use them, like all the webbing. I don't really like the way they look most of the time, you know. There's all the hands. You get all the ones you need for Spidey. You get a mobile phone. You get 3 sets of different eyes, and the diorama, which mine is damaged unfortunately. You get the newspaper. You get the scorpion's tail, which is quite impressive, and it does look quite nice. The box for me is gorgeous and very similar to my PS4 Pro Spider-Man box, because I bought a PS4 Pro to get this game. Otherwise I'd still be purely a Xbox dude, but I had to get a PlayStation to play Spider-Man, and I'm glad I got one because I swear by it now. I love my PlayStation 4 Pro. One day I'll get a PS5 once there's a good enough reason to get one, GTA 6. But this box looks very, very similar to my PS4 box, and I should have got the box out to put on here on display as well, but I went and looked in the cupboard. It was really buried at the back and I thought, nah. So beautiful box, but way too big and wide unfortunately for me to display on the shelf, so I'll have to find a different way of displaying Spidey without the box, but the diorama might help. But yeah, beautiful box, beautiful diorama, good accessories, and now let's just get on to the meat of the review on the figure itself. Okay, now once the pictures came out for this figure, I could see very quickly, even with the original photos that Hot Toys released when people were deciding whether or not to pre-order it, I could see that this body and suit was very similar to the advanced suit, which I did own for quite some time, and that was a great Spider-Man figure and still is. I highly recommend you get the advanced suit. It would go lovely with this one. But just in case those of you out there who may be new to the game or new to Spider-Man figures and you don't know about this, you can actually press the shoulder up and then you get a nice click, and then the arms can go way more flush to his sides. So just bear that in mind, because most of us are just going to have to display this guy like this, you know, on the shelf or in your detolf. You can pose him up, and the suit is quite forgiving on this particular version and the advanced suit, because they're very similar. Quite forgiving with the wrinkles once you put him back in a museum pose like this. But just to let you know, you can get the arms really nice and flush, and that's something I love about these bodies. And we'll just take a look at some of the more fine details. I've had to lower the brightness on the camera to pick this up, but the eyes are not just a flat white. I know most of you already know this and know to expect it, but for those of you that don't and haven't really noticed it in the videos out there at the moment, there is a very subtle white mesh for the white of the eyes, so it's not just a flat white. I love that detail. It's game accurate. It makes it kind of look more expensive and high-end and detailed. I really do like that. The spider on his chest is raised as it should be, so I'm glad about that. And the spider on his back is definitely raised in the game, as I was checking yesterday in anticipation for this figure to arrive. That's one of the things I noticed. I was like, damn, that spider on his back is pretty raised. Hopefully the Spider-Man by Hot Toys is also, and it is. So very nicely done. He's basically really nicely stitched together. The outfit is very tight fitting, just like it was on the advanced suit. On his left side, the stitching can get a little bit more obvious, a little bit, you know, not ugly, but it is what it is. It's not that bad on the other side. It's actually quite flush and smooth over there. But yeah, his left side on all of these figures I think will have this kind of look, but it's very tightly sewn together. I know that might look like we've got holes and stuff, but I think that's just the way the shadows are kind of hitting it. It's very tightly sewn together. And let's get those arms nice and flush again. He doesn't have that annoying wrinkle on the ankles. It's very nice and smooth. Very glad about that. They're definitely ironing out some of the little bugs, no pun intended. I did notice someone in the comments of one of the reviews I watched saying that in the prototype images the eyes were not as wide as this, and it was actually more accurate to have them slightly less wide open. In the video game, that's quite a wide open eye look, but they're certainly not quite as wide as they are on the figure. And the head shape as well, I feel, is ever so slightly different to how they've got it on the figure here. They did do that weird cyborg kind of pirate looking thing. Never used the suit in the game, but you know, Hot Toys did the kind of cyborg Spider-Man as well, which has quite a similar head sculpt to this, obviously with things added onto it. That one came before this one, so I have a slight suspicion that maybe this head sculpt came from the cyborg version and they did what they needed to do to make it look more like the classic suit rather than sculpting one completely from scratch. Could be wrong. My gut is rarely wrong about these little cheeky moves that Hot Toys are pulling. I've been collecting them, for 16 years now, so I've seen my fair share of shenanigans. Sometimes the side profile on the Spider-Man figures can get a bit ugly when the head transitions to the neck. On this one, as long as you position things quite nicely, let's just line up that whip a little bit better. There we go. I think that's a pretty decent side profile for Spider-Man, so you don't have to worry about that. For those of you that have been collecting them for a while and haven't got this one yet, you might be wondering, oh, is it one of those ugly ones from the side view? Nah, this one's pretty good, and proportions look pretty good from the side too. Even from the back, it's not too bad. There's a gap, obviously. You're gonna get that. I think they could have done that if they really, took their time and thought about it. There's a way to, sculpt a bit more on the head as it transitions to kind of like cover, as it lands, like slightly overlaps the neck, but flush, maybe they're just trying to allow for a little bit more movement and posability, but it's a beautiful looking piece, man. As I turn him here and I'm looking at him, that is pure Spider-Man. I am very tempted. I only want one Spider-Man, and this is kind of the one to have if you only want one, because you can't get better than classic Spidey. It looks like this is pretty much what Tom Holland's going to be wearing in the next Spider-Man film, if he's doing one. I think he is. But this is a beautiful piece. But yeah, I'm thinking about the Sam Raimi suit, which is from the movies my favorite. Definitely that Tobey Maguire Spider-Man suit that he wore in all three films. And I like the way back in those days, they were selling toys from the Spider-Man movies that Sam Raimi made, but basically the suit looked the same in all three movies, and it was slightly different from movie to movie. They did make changes, but basically it was the same suit all the way through. And how many friggin' times has Tom Holland changed his suit in the three films we've had? It's a bit silly. And that's why, the older people like me who've seen it all, and we've seen all the movies and had all the toys in the 80s and the 90s, and you know how it works with the Happy Meals and all that stuff. They gotta do as many different suits as possible to keep selling more toys, but at a point it gets a bit insulting. So I just respected the way Sam Raimi basically kept that one suit all the way through the movie, pretty much, with a few slight tweaks, but nothing that you could, the layman, the casual Spider-Man trilogy viewer would point out and say, that's a different suit. It certainly didn't look that way. It looked like the same suit all the way through the trilogy, which gives it a certain, I don't know what the word is. I wish I had the vocabulary for it, but I respected it. I respected that they kept the same suit pretty much the whole way through that trilogy, and like I said, it got a bit ridiculous with Tom Holland, and we probably got way more suits coming as well. But yeah, I love the Sam Raimi suit, and I'm looking forward to seeing the figure once Hot Toys announce it. Well, they've teased it now. They've released that picture of the three different Spider-Mans all pointing at each other, and there's the Sam Raimi suit. It's pretty damn exciting. And another Andrew Garfield figure as well coming, with the suit he wore in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So good times coming for Spider-Man fans. And this is certainly the one to have, though, in my opinion. If you're only going to have one, that's why I'm curious how I'm going to feel when I see the Sam Raimi suit. So let's see if I end up getting that one as well, and if this one will still be here by the time that's released. Only time will tell. But right now, the way I'm feeling, he's a keeper. And here's a quick little height comparison with another video game figure from Hot Toys. This is the Arkham City Batman, who I've heavily modified, repainted, and he's got a Shadow Fergo real metal batarang that folds. Videos on the channel covering what I did to this piece. And that's how he looks standing beside the video game Spider-Man. So those two look beautiful together. They contrast against each other very well. And that looks pretty accurate to me height-wise. The shape of Spidey's head. That is interesting. I'm just looking at that. The shape of his head from the front. I don't think that's 100% accurate. I'd have to check the game again. Let me know in the comments. I know some of you guys out there know this stuff, so you go ahead and you let me know if the shape of Spidey's head is right. It's a bit chunky looking. I don't know. Doesn't quite look like that. No, that looks to me more like the Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man's head. The shape of it, That's a little bit different. Even from that angle. that you're seeing this from. It's not quite the same, is it? Also factor in the slightly larger eyes. Maybe that's having an effect, but I think it's the head shape. Still a beautiful piece, but definitely not perfect. And here he is next to another Hot Toys Marvel figure. This is the War Machine Punisher that was sent to me from my buddy Ryan Rose Clark, man. Ryan, if you're watching, thank you so much again for sending the Punisher. It's such a badass piece. I need to change him back to his full Punisher look with the helmet on and the guns blazing. It's just a presence. It's the heaviest figure in this room, even including the quarter scale stuff. I think that might be the case. It really is. It's too heavy for the shelf. That's why he's always down low in the room, because I just can't risk it. He's really heavy, but that is so cool, because he's basically a shrunk down Punisher War Machine. But there he is next to Spidey, and I think they go together really well also. Two beautiful pieces right there. And here he is next to the Hot Toys Black Panther. I've actually got a couple of Marvel bits lying around, haven't I? I mean, I know I'm always filming my horror stuff and my Batman figures, but I've got a few Marvel pieces. Forget about it, especially with Spidey here now. I've got Spidey, Black Panther, War Machine, Punisher, War Machine, Deadpool's over there. Anyone else? I think that's about it for now. Yeah, I've got some Marvel stuff. Got some Marvel love. But I'm actually thinking of letting go of Black Panther, folks, if you're interested. He's up for grabs. I've just had him for a while. I'm afraid to pose him because of the suit. I don't want to damage him, so he's always just in a museum pose like this. And after a year or two, you just get a little bit bored of looking at him like that. So he's up for grabs. You can email me at deank333@hotmail.co.uk if you want to get him. Just come at me with a fair price for him. He is mint condition, everything, the box, accessories, the light up base, all that stuff. But do remember, I'm going to be including the Max Nut head sculpt box set, which was one Chadwick Boseman head sculpt, which was much better than the Hot Toys one that came with this, and also it comes with the 2 Killmonger sculpts as well. So you're gonna have to factor that into the price when you make the offer. I don't mind if he stays here, because I do love that suit. I do love the Black Panther look. So but like I said, I'm just kind of bored of looking at him in a museum pose all the time. So I think it's time for him to find a new home. But that's how he looks. Next is Spidey. You can always get in touch with me on Facebook and Instagram as well, folks. Alright, so I'll put him in some poses for you. He's now in the alleyway diorama that was made for me by Glenn Page at Cult Creations. Recently reviewed his Myers House diorama in 1/6 scale, so check out those videos on the channel. Had a lot of fun posing up a Michael Myers collection in that diorama. And this beautiful alleyway suits a multitude of characters: Batman, Spidey, Myers, all the horror guys. It's a really nice kind of just a generic grimy alleyway, but Glenn Page does amazing work, so a little shout out to him. I'll show you how to get in touch with him now. If you want to order yourself a diorama, he can make it anything in any scale. He's quite the wizard. So there you go, the top two, Facebook and Instagram. Get in touch with Glenn and order yourself a diorama, because they take your figures to a whole other level. Now, I saw a video where a guy recently bought all of the Hot Toys Spider-Man video game figures and unboxed and reviewed them all in one big video. And it made me think, if you did have all of the video game Spider-Man figures by Hot Toys, all the different accessories that come with each one, you could really have a lot of fun mixing and matching them. This one doesn't come with the Spider Sense kind of visual tingling that you can put around his head. And out of all of the Spider-Mans, I really wish this one did come with some Spider Sense tingle action. It'd just be cool to have that with the classic kind of comic book, video game, animated cartoons, all that stuff. I mean, when I see this figure, this version, that's what I think of. I think of all of those, you know, various types of Spider-Man media. I've just got the Scorpion's tail just poking over the edge there, so that's pretty nifty. Alright, so I just got him in a nice little fighting stance here with the fists up. You got some good bend in the elbow. I think it's pretty much a double bend. And you got nice crunch in the torso as well, about 2 different points I think, so you can get some really good crunch forward and back. Good turn in the waist as well. Great articulation in his ankles, and you still don't get any wrinkles when you do that, which is nice. You can get the foot nice and flat on the surface. There's toe articulation as well. Good muscle tone in his thighs. You know, the wrinkles aren't too bad in this pose anyway. But all in all, very good looking piece. Very satisfied with the posability so far. Also switched out the eyes to the slightly more aggressive look. And the head looks up really high, so that's going to help you for walk crawling poses, hanging upside down poses. Nice to have good articulation in the head. You can look down a fair bit, but you can certainly look up a fair bit too. Now, a nice simple pose that you can do with these Spider-Man figures that doesn't stress out any of the joints, and I've shown it before with the other ones that I've reviewed, is this beautiful soaring down headfirst from a skyscraper when he's leaped off the top of the roof. And that's literally just balancing on the kind of waist grabber stand. It's a very long stand when you put it together. I mean, you can see it's two kind of screwed together to give you this really kind of high display, and that would work great if you were you know, maybe not going to have them in a detail, if you're going to maybe have them on a top shelf somewhere. That would look very epic and very cool, and it looks good from any angle, and it certainly, you know, brings back flashbacks of soaring off those rooftops, the skyscrapers in the video game. So that is one cool pose you can do that doesn't stress out any joints and isn't going to cause any problems. And you're just balancing on there. That's how he looks. That's the kind of posture of it. You want to remember to use the crunch in the torso and kind of move it back, you know, so he's kind of got a slight curve. I mean, you could do it even more than that. Let me see. I have to do this one-handed. There you go. You hear that? And there's another one. So now that should be even better looking. Yeah, there we go. That's beautiful. Definitely a good option for display. You don't see it very often. Well, you do on this channel because, well, let's face it, that's why you come here. For the good stuff. Welcome to the goodie room. Well, these little things took me a minute to work out. So you can remove, on the web shooting hands, you can remove this bit, and then, yeah, you plug the web shooters, which have these two little nodules sticking out, or three, I guess, because there's 3 holes. Let me just clip that into place. Yes, consult your instructions. Everything is in there. And then you end up with that, which looks very cool. And I wasn't going to use any of these webbings because in the past they get a bit droopy looking and I wasn't a fan. But I think with my pose with him kind of leaping off the skyscraper coming down, I might have him shooting out a web. Let's see how that looks. But that is cool the way they've done that. There's some good thinking there. Credit where it's due. There you go. That looks pretty damn sweet. Shooting out that web. All gooey. Finessed it a little bit. Got the legs a little bit more wild, a little bit more flaying in the air. Flailing? Is that the word? Either way, look at that. It's beautiful. The only section that's getting really stressed out is his kind of upper arm here. You can see the wrinkle action and obviously at the elbow. But, you know, you take your pictures, a few minutes, you know, about maybe 5-10 minutes max. Try and keep it to a few if you can, and put them back to normal again. But you get your pictures taken, get your footage shot for your videos, your Instagrams, and your, oh, God forbid, TikTok. It's just annoying. But yeah, beautiful. Look at that. Hey? That is, that's a beauty right there. That is absolutely stunning. Yeah, it's definitely one of those poses I don't really want to stop filming. It's awesome to see him like this. I'll just try and give it to you from every angle before we change it up again. Let me know what you think of this pose. And just kept the web shooting out there and just got him standing up, just kind of eyeballing it. Got one of the more squinty eyes in and one of the more open ones, just kind of aiming as he shoots you with his web. And now utilizing the mobile phone accessory, he's just looking a bit disgruntled here because he's just discovered J. Jonah Jameson is spreading more nonsense about him after him risking his life to save the people of New York. He's still dealing with the social media nonsense. But yeah, simple one there. Nothing too stressful on the joints. Looks good. And the mobile phone itself has some detail on there. I'd have to get in a bit closer. Is that Doc Ock? I think that's Dr. Octavius. I think it is. Yeah, I think he's chatting to his buddy. Great proportions on him. Very realistic. Beautiful colours, man. The vibrancy alone is reason enough to drool. Alright, now making use of one of the pointing finger hand sculpts. This is a bit of a kids stay in school moment. Or don't do drugs. Or look both ways when you're crossing the sidewalk, I guess if you're in America. And now we got a bit of a, hey, I saw that kid. Pick up that rubbish. Don't drop your litter on the streets. It's getting a bit preachy, old Spider-Man. Isn't he? A little bit preachy. Sir Peter of Parkersville. And just looking up as he points up, and I just think he looks really good proportion wise. Just in these kind of weird, normal, just nothing extreme poses. He just looks very natural and like a real person. And I'm really liking that about it. I'll just say, folks, when it comes to stuff like the scorpion tail, it's very nicely done, really good articulation. I love the kind of soft plastic or soft rubber kind of spike on the end, even though it's soft and kind of bends a little bit. Still quite sharp, so watch out for that. You could definitely take an eye out with it, so be careful. But really good articulation in here. Turns backwards and forwards. I'm not gonna, that's the point, I'm not gonna go showing you all that. Everyone's already done it already. There's a lot of the similar formula in the reviews on YouTube where the first 15-20 minutes is all just hands holding accessories in front of the screen. So you've got that already, that's covered. I'm really just focusing on the figure here, and the review is coming to an end. I don't want to keep you here too long, so if you want to see more stuff about what the base looks like, I mean, it looks like this. It's got some nice artwork on there. As you can see, there's a nice kind of rough surface on the more kind of artwork side, and then the actual spider itself seems quite a smooth surface, which will probably scratch quite easily. It says classic suit on the front, Marvel Spider-Man, and yeah, some good accessories, but there's plenty of reviews out there. Now I'll give you my final thoughts and we'll wrap it up. Alright, so a final score out of 10. I haven't even thought about it, honestly. I'm literally just going to do it off the top of my head now. Let's see. Okay, so great posability, a really nice forgiving suit, great muscle kind of padded body, same as the advanced suit, which I really like. Some really good hand accessories. The base is nice, the scorpion tail is pretty damn cool. Box artwork is very nice. The little mobile phone, his different eyes, all the good stuff. He comes with some really good stuff. So, and just a beautiful piece. All that aside, what we're just seeing in front of us right now, just the figure itself is a beautiful piece. It's so vibrant, so colorful, so true to this classic Spider-Man. That's what he's called after all. Let's see. Like I said, the raised webbing on the head and the hands, not being consistent with the webbing on the suit, bit frustrating, but in hand, in person, really not too much of an issue at all. So I'm going to give him, let's see, is there any reason not to give him a 9 out of 10 other than the obvious things I've mentioned, which aren't too much of a big deal in person? I don't see any reason not to. It's a beautiful Spider-Man figure, and I, surprisingly enough, after my initial thoughts, when he was first announced. I would highly recommend this to you. If you're only going to get one 1/6 scale Hot Toys Spider-Man, I think this is the one to have. We'll see what happens in the future, but you can always sell this one later on if you need to. I don't think you'd have any trouble selling a classic suit Spider-Man like this. So I'll give him a 9 out of 10, which I know will surprise a lot of you considering things I've said in the past about it, but having it in front of me has been necessary and important, I think. So yeah, 9 out of 10. Beautiful piece. Definitely recommend you pick him up. So I got mine on eBay, and it was in the UK. Got it the very next day. It was a beautiful, smooth transaction, and that's how I got my Mandalorian figures. Just randomly looked on eBay and just gave it a couple of months after it was released in Hong Kong, and then they started turning up on eBay. So that's how I'm going to do it from now on. I think I'd love to get early reviews and be the first to review some Hot Toy stuff like I was back in the day, but things aren't like that anymore. And I still bring you early exclusive reviews on some stuff like the Caustic Plastic figures and the Sylvester Stallone John Rambo that's coming out soon. That's going to be an exclusive review on the channel, and a lot of the horror stuff from Trick or Treat Studios. But when it comes to the Hot Toys stuff, I tend to just wait a couple of months now and grab them on eBay, and I've had a great time doing that, so that's how I'm doing it. Alright, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I always love to hear from you guys out there. Thank you for supporting the channel. You can do so on Patreon if you like for $1 a month, and I'll stick your name at the end of every video just like the credits of a movie. And make sure you follow me on Instagram for plenty of pictures. There will be pictures from this review going up on Instagram, so follow me on there at DeanKnight33, and I'll see you soon. Take it easy. Bye bye.